There's a new stud in town. What'd you hear about him? Well, they said that he's big and strong and good looking.
Gotta get your act together.
Harder, stronger, harder, stronger, harder, stronger.
Hairy, sweaty, macho.
Real physical strength. He'll never stop.
Welcome to the Work in Progress podcast. I am Michael D. Catherwood, your host, your faithful host. Don't really know what I'm going to say. Don't have much I want to talk about. I guess I can reference my disenchantment, my feelings of frustration and isolation with the fitness community. It's more than just someone bitching and moaning. It's more than someone griping. I'm sure it seems that way. At first glance, it just seems like a dude who's upset about shit being stupid, because shit is stupid. But I think one of the most frustrating aspects of modern fitness, and it may not be what you think, you probably assume I'm going to gripe about grifters and using social media to sell stuff that isn't necessarily useful or worthwhile to people who are vulnerable. They're highly motivated and uneducated on kind of the nuances of fitness and nutrition. And that has its problems, but that's really not something new. That's kind of been the key to marketing in a capitalist society pretty much since the beginning of modern media. But look, since there's been television and radio, there has been people selling snake oil to people who are vulnerable and easily manipulated when it comes to that topic. You could write entire books and do documentary series on the stuff that was sold to housewives since the beginning of television, since the beginning of radio probably. And don't get me started about, the Thigh Master, shake weight, crazy diets, crazy drugs, crazy supplements over the years that have just been pushed upon people in this industry, in fitness and health. But you get duped. I certainly have done my fair share of being on the receiving end of being duped by fitness scams or new cutting edge diets, new cutting edge training programs and things like that. What I think is most disturbing, and this really translates over to a lot of different topics, pop culture certainly. I saw it play out in my own life with pop culture recently because I put up this meme about why testosterone is lower in modern youth, and it was 1994 versus today. And it was a video of Pantera, I believe it was a I'm Broken video from Far Beyond Driven, which was the number one album in the country. It's insane to think that, but Pantera had the number one album in the country. And so I write this in the comment section below, and then it directly compares it to a Machine Gun Kelly video, which is gay, so gay. You could actively be receiving cock in your ass, and it's not as gay as this. I don't understand. I don't have any feelings, negative or positive, about Machine Gun Kelly. I used to, when I got to know Machine Gun Kelly as a rapper, he was really good. I thought he was quite good. Bitch, I'm from the land till I die. But that Bone Thugs till I die. I would hear his shit on like Shade 45, and I'd be like, oh, this guy's pretty good. But yeah, and like I said, I don't know much of his music, but they showed a video. I was like, holy mac! I thought it was a joke. And Pantera was fucking awesome in 1994, and they had the number one album in the country. So I wrote this in the comments below, or in the whatever caption. I wrote, look, I'm not this like over the hill metalhead guy where back in my day things were real, but I said it does bring up something interesting in that, Pantera, it's not like they were just a band, and I'm not saying that music is less heavy nowadays than it was in 1994. There's bands that are so much heavier than Pantera could ever dream of being. They're bands that tune lower, they play faster, they play heavier shit, and it's brutal. Kublai Khan, Texas, and there's so many bands out there. This new Peeling Flesh is a new band that I've really been getting into, and things are extreme. It's not my point. But these are fringe bands. These are bands that live in the kind of subgenres of extreme music that guys like me and gals like you may like. Pantera had the #1 album in the country. You understand? Like, that's insane. And nowadays, I was simply pointing out that there's no space for that in kind of mainstream commercialized media. There's just no place for that nowadays. They wouldn't be able to take the chance. There's no way that you would get to you because there's too much corporate intervention making sure that when you're going to sell something on that level, when you're going to push it on that level on a commercial scale, there's way too many filters to allow a band like Pantera, like maniacs like Pantera, to be the #1 band of the country. And I thought I worded it rather well. And every comment is just people saying the same rehash shit, like I'm cherry picking. I wasn't comparing Pantera to Machine Gun Kelly, not completely separate genres. I wasn't saying that music used to be heavier in my day than it was nowadays. I made that very clear. What I was pointing out is that the media landscape has shifted so greatly that there would be no chance for an album like Far Beyond Driven to get to the point where it could be #1 in the whole country. That kids like I did when I was a teenager couldn't even have access to something like that on a mainstream scale. You can go and you can listen to whatever you want now on the streaming services. You can get access to way heavier music than Pantera. And it was just a bunch of really badly worded, misspelled, poor grammar arguments saying something that had nothing to do with what I posted. This is my long-winded rant. That people don't even have the ability to process information properly simply because you're so overwhelmed with stimulation and IP and information just overwhelming you. And I see it play out in politics. I see it play out in pop culture. I certainly see it play out in fitness and strength. When you are given some guy who's a CrossFitter, his feed is telling you about how you have to eat pre-workout meal with this many carbs or else you're not going to be able to perform well. I don't know if most people have enough kind of knowledge or ability to kind of understand what they're seeing, to know that if you're just someone who wants to get in better shape for the summer, has no application to you. In fact, it's like a basketball player trying to tell you how to throw a faster slider. It's insane, and because most people don't come from that world, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. This isn't critical. Why would you? No one is as geeky as people like me when it comes to fitness and nutrition. But because of that, you're still fed all this information. And when you get it through TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you're getting this congealed ball. And you don't have the ability to dissect it and understand the stuff that's applicable to you and the stuff that isn't. So you take something that's already been in play for 100 years, and that is people using the media to market stuff that might not be effective or useful to you. Snake oil salesmen trying to make a buck. That is nothing new. But you take that and now you couple it with the ability for people to just barrage you with information that I'm not necessarily sure we're all capable of dissecting and even understanding what it is. It's way worse than it used to be, because you're being sold something and told that you need it. And unlike the shake weight or the thigh master, you can't even comprehend what it is you're being sold. And that's what really bothers me. I put up a video on from this show about how I got so mad at Don Lemon talking about how Megyn Kelly's not good looking.
Megyn Kelly chopped.
What does chop mean?
Chop means like not hot.
She's chopped. I think she looks trans.
First off, fuck off. Okay, that was clearly like a political hit job, because if someone asks you, what do you think? Rachel Maddow? She a good-looking woman? You'd be like, she's beautiful. Rachel Maddow's beautiful because she is queen. Leslie Jones, queen. But you say, I think Megyn Kelly's beat. She's like, really? Have you even thought about that? Or you just want to talk shit about Megyn Kelly? So that's what was making me mad. Don Lemon, a guy who clearly was using other motives to criticize Megyn Kelly, that got me mad because I don't feel like he's qualified to even say that. This had nothing to do with politics. I've never watched, I intake zero of Megyn Kelly's information when it comes to politics and media and news. People firing away on my Instagram feed. You can't defend Megyn Kelly because she sticks up for PDF files and she's making excuses for Epstein's Island. And I'm like, oh, so people don't even know what they're looking at when they see things. People are that, I'm not gonna say dumb, because Lord knows I'm not Stephen Hawking, but you've been so eroded, your attention span, your ability to kind of look at nuance and see separate layers of what people are saying or doing is so eroded that you just hear the words Megyn Kelly and you're like, well, let me associate that with some political idea, that something that a left-wing stuff has pushed in my way or right-wing stuff has pushed my way. All I was saying is, like, I don't want a guy who's clearly motivated by other things and is also super gay talking about how someone is ugly when I've met the lady. She's super not ugly, and I made it very clear. She's not my type. She couldn't be more not my type, and she's so impressively good looking in person. Like, that's all. That's all I was saying. Had nothing to do. All these people, they're like, how dare you stick up for Megyn Kelly when she just last week talked about, and I was like, you know how? Because I didn't know what she talked about last week, because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Just like I don't give a fuck if you know of some new super extreme band because you're 19 years old and you're like, you're a boomer, Mike, and you're talking about Pantera. I was like, no, that's not what I said. I didn't say that there isn't heavier music now. Like back in my day, there was heavier music. No, there's super extreme bands. I can't believe how fast and how clear they play and how down-tuned they can. Like some of the more grindcore bands and deathcore bands nowadays, I cannot believe how heavy it is. And I love it. I love extreme music. It has nothing to do with what I was saying. All I was saying is, like, wow, media's changed. I actually feel bad for kids nowadays because they're not really gonna get access to stuff like that on a mainstream scale. Like, you could turn on MTV, you could listen to and hear Pantera. That's bananas to me. And they had the #1 album in the country. It was like Pantera, Far Beyond Driven, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. I mean, that's kind of bananas. That's all I was saying, okay? And it bothers me. And I think if I'm gonna apply it and bring it back to something that really means something for this show, it bothers me that people are being sold like endurance sports, powerlifting, female get fit for booty boot camp bullshit, bodybuilding, CrossFit, and it all gets just constantly thrown at you. And everything is sold as the best way to do it. And I don't think anybody even understands what they're being sold, let alone being sold snake oil. Now you don't even have the ability to filter out what it is you're looking at. You just know it has something vague to do with fitness and nutrition. And it bothers me a lot, okay? So, like, subscribe, help me out so I can help you out. In this crazy mixed up world that makes you think that nobody cares, remember, I do. Be good.